guys, welcome back to my channel. Tonight's dinner we are making tortellini with some spinach. So what you're going to need is ground sausage, garlic, beef broth. You need 1 thing of marinara, and you're going to need 1 thing of tortellini. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by cooking our meat, and we're gonna cook this basically like if we were making tacos. So what you want to do is you want to cook your sausage mixture until it's all brown, just like if we were making tacos. So I want this to look just like if I was making tacos. We're gonna just cook this down until it's all brown, and I have the stove on medium heat, so then that way our pan will get nice and hot. Now, this recipe is a very special recipe, and I've been wanting to record this video, so this video is very special. It's an easy recipe. It's not really that difficult to make, I think. It's pretty basic forward if you ask me, but this video is really good. This dinner, I'm going to call this, now this recipe is tortellini. I guess I'll call it my tortellini marinara. I guess I'll call it my tortellini marinara, I guess. So we're just going to cook our ground sausage for a few minutes until it's cooked. Now, like I said, we're going to now, you want this sausage to have the look kind of like if you were making tacos. It's going to be all nice and brown. And this recipe I will have uploaded tonight after we're done cooking it. I'm trying to just breaking this up. Now we're going to let this is going to be about maybe, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes it's going to cook for. You just want this thing to be brown. Now, the one thing about this is that you can see that there's not really a whole lot of fat in this. I'm going to turn this up a little bit so it can cook a little bit faster. So the good thing about this sausage is that there's not really a whole lot of fat. So I don't really think we're going to have to really probably worry about draining it, but you know, we're just going to cook this down. Now, so many of you guys requested that I make this video, so I'm making it. And what I'll do is, because I've been kind of slacking off with this, is I will write down your measurements and how much of it you need, okay? And I believe this onion is 1 finely diced onion, okay? This is, I think that's 1 cup of beef broth. And I will give you, like I said, I'll write down the recipe and the measurements of how much you need in the description below. So we're just gonna let this thing just cook a little bit. Alright, so we're just gonna let this cook a little. Now, like I said, you want this to look like you want this to have the look like if you're making tacos. You want it to be nice and brown. And I'll show you what we're going to do next. Now, there is one thing that you can't leave out in this recipe, and that is your tomato sauce. Now, the marinara sauce, what that's going to do is that's just going to give it flavor, okay? Now, you guys are, now this is sort of like, what recipe am I thinking of? This is basically, it's like a pasta dish with marinara sauce. So we're just going to let this continue to cook a little. Now, like I said, the goal here is to let this thing just brown up. We're just going to let this brown for about, this will take about maybe 10 minutes or so until all the meat is brown. Now, like I said, there's not really a whole lot of fat in this meat. So, I don't really think we're going to have to worry about draining it because there's really nothing to drain here. So, we're in good shape. So, we're just going to break it up and brown it. Now, I'm making this video for all my friends out there, including my teachers. Now, one of my teachers said that she wanted to know how to make my slow cooker Cuban sloppy joe. And I did not put the video, I didn't put a recipe in the description box, which is fine. But I promise for this recipe, I will put the directions. Now, I have this thing on about a 7, so we can start cooking a little. Like I said, you want your ground beef to be totally brown. There should be no pink in here. We're just going to keep cooking it. Now, the key to this dish, and I have to say, this is like, I've never made this before, so this dish is going to be pretty interesting. Now, there's going to be, like I said, you're going to need onions, marinara sauce, beef broth, and tortellini, but we'll get to that. I'll show you all the remaining ingredients when I'll basically go over everything when we get to that point. But right now we're cooking our meat. Now I have the heat on about a medium high, so let's cook our meat. Now the goal here, as you can see, the ground beef, I keep thinking it's ground beef. Sorry guys, but the ground sausage is cooking a little. It needs to be all the way brown. So I'm just cooking my meat a little. And I'll show you guys, I'll give you guys a little update of what the ground sauce looks like in a minute. Now, here's a funny story. Now, you're probably asking, well, how am I filming this video? Now, I don't have my tripod with me, but I will give you guys a little thing here. Even though I don't have my tripod with me, I found this little thing that I can prop my phone up, and that way I can still record. So, it's a good thing I found this, because if I hadn't, then I would kind of be screwed. But it's a good thing I found it. Alright, the ground sausage looks great. We're just cooking it. And once the ground sausage is all the way cooked through, then we will add our onions. Okay? And I'll probably change spoons here in a minute, just because I don't want to mix the onions with this, because then it'll break up the onion. We don't want to do that. So we're just going to let this thing just start cooking. Like I told you guys, the sausage doesn't really have as much fat as I thought it was going to be, but you know what? I'm just going to keep cooking.
You're going to see how this starts to accumulate. You just want to pull that down so that also gets cooked.
Yeah, Jane.
I think it's good to get rid of this mix and chop and get like a spoon. Okay.
You got a side spoon?
Yeah. And normal spoon is good. And you're good to go ahead and start putting your onions in. So it's half an onion and a teaspoon of the minced garlic. Okay.
Yeah. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to put our onion in. And I got a half an onion here chopped. Put that in. And we're going to put a half a teaspoon of minced garlic. 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Now, we're going to let this cook for about maybe 5-6 minutes, maybe. Not hold this one. Like I said, I'll give you the exact measurements in the description. Alright, so let's start. So we're going to cook this onion and garlic. Now, I will tell you guys something. The goal, now we don't want, the one thing you do not want is your garlic or onions to burn. So I'm going to turn this down a little so not wait and burn, because I don't want my garlic to burn. Now, I'll give you a little tip here, and everybody says this when they cook with garlic, okay? Let me tell you guys this. if you cook with, if you taste burnt garlic, it's bitter, it's gross, and it kind of ruins the flavor of your dish. So you don't want to taste burnt garlic. We're gonna cook this thing for about 5 minutes or so. Now you want the onions to be translucent, and I'm not looking for a whole lot of color on the onions, but we're looking for them to kind of cook and sweat a little bit. We're just gonna, they smell good. Alright, so we're just gonna keep stirring. I turn my heat down to medium heat, so then that way the garlic doesn't burn. Doing its thing. Now, we are gonna cover this with the lid up. Now, we're not gonna cover it now, but I'll show you. I'll show you guys when we get to that step. We're not in a rush. I won't do that step.
So put this in, then this, and a good stir, okay?
Okay, guys. So now we've got 24 ounces of marinara sauce. Now we're gonna stand back because it might splatter, but whatever. All right, so that's good. I'll stir everything in a minute. I just want to get these ingredients. Okay, we got 1 cup of beef broth going in. Now, I know this looks strange, but it's going to be totally fine. And then we're going to do 1 bag of tortellini. Just want to put everything in there. You know what? It's going to cook all together. Okay.
Make sure you're in medium heat.
I am.
Okay. Once it's all stirred up.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you guys the next part of this recipe.
When it's all stirred up, you put the lid on for 5 minutes.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to stir this in. This looks great, actually. Now, I won't end the video here because I want to kind of show you guys the final step of this process. I want to show you guys the spinach. So I'll kind of talk through this, okay? You guys don't have to worry about it, really. Alright, so we're just going to continue stirring it in. Alright, this looks awesome. It smells good. Alright, so now I'm going to cover the pot and just to let it just simmer. Okay, so we're going to let this cook for 5 minutes, and then when we get the fun action, we're going to add this. This is spinach. Or no, yeah, this is spinach, baby spinach. And while I'm talking, you serve it with some cheese, okay? Alright, so we're going to let this cook for 5 minutes. This is going to cook for 5 minutes, and then I'll show you guys what this thing's going to look like. Now, when the timer's up, then I'll show you guys what the next step is going to be. So, this recipe is a very simple recipe. Now, I've shared a video of now, you guys are probably going to think this is interesting. This recipe is a very simple, basic recipe. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this. If you guys don't have marinara sauce, that's fine. You could substitute it with maybe spaghetti sauce. If you don't have ground sausage, you could just substitute it use some ground beef. You know, you could just substitute some of the ingredients that you don't have on hand. You can use other ingredients. This is good with anything. All right, so we're gonna let this cook for 5 minutes. And I'm kind of talking through this, but you guys know what? You guys know that I love when you guys know that when we do these cooking videos, we kind of improvise what and I'll get that in a minute. I'm kind of busy here. Okay, so basically you guys know when I do these cooking videos, I try to get you guys on some different information. Now tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm gonna video this, but tomorrow I'm making chicken tacos, so maybe I'll do a video on that. I've done that before, but we're gonna try a different way. Alright, so we got 3 minutes until this is done. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sit and wait a minute, and we're just gonna kind of just let this just sit Now, this is the most important part of this recipe, I think. Okay? I know it's a little crazy because we put tortellini in that spaghetti in the marinara sauce, but I'll give you a little tip here. You guys do not be afraid and don't think, well, oh my gosh, this is weird because this chef put tortellini in the spaghetti sauce, okay, in the marinara sauce. It's not weird at all. It's what the recipe says. Now, usually, if we were making like a traditional dish, not something like this, but something very similar, then we would boil it in water. This is a little different, okay? So we got 2 minutes. Now, like I said, after 2 minutes, I'm gonna add the baby spinach, and then we're probably ready to serve. Then I'll put some Parmesan cheese on top, and that's gonna be delicious, okay? So we got 1 minute. So when the timer goes off, I'll uncover it, see what it's doing. We're gonna add our baby spinach and the Parmesan. So like I told you guys in the very beginning, I will write the recipe down below. I'm not going to just upload it, because you guys know I've been kind of lazy. I've been kind of being lazy a little bit, not writing the recipe down. And I do apologize, but I'm going to start writing down the measurements and the ingredients, and that way you guys can like have a visual of what recipe we're making. So we got 1 minute. Now, we're just going to sit here. Now, you guys know this, okay? Understand this. I have made a lot of great recipes in my past time. Now, I've been cooking ever since I was 12 years old, so I've been cooking for, I've been cooking for 5 years. Can you guys believe that? I've been on YouTube for 5 years straight. Can you guys believe that? It's like, oh my gosh. Okay, so when the timer goes off, I'm going to take the lid off. This is really hot. I'm going to take the lid off, and then we're going to add some spinach. You see this? Baby spinach. Now, once the cover is off, we're going to check it. Now, the tortellini should be cooked through. Now, I'm making this video specially. It's special, right? For Zane, Doug, Nicholas, Demaje, DeAndre, Patrick, and Sebastian, and Miss Mellenbacher. Now, Miss Mellenbacher asked me to give her the recipe for sloppy joes, and I will. But this recipe, Miss Mellenbacher, I'm going to give you this recipe as well for my tortellini and marinara sauce. That recipe. Okay, timer's off. So now we're going to leave it. I'm gonna be right back. I'll just be a minute. Okay, guys, we're back. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cancel this. We're going to uncover and look at that. Now, it's boiling, which is what we want. Now, it's fine. It's at a boil. It's totally fine just like that. I'm going to add some spinach. Now, it's a little wet, so what we want to do is we want to kind of drain out the water because it's really liquidy. Just add in a grip of spinach like that. Now, the one thing you do not add is the water. Now, the water, we don't want to add water to it because that's gross. Right? No water required in this recipe. Okay, I'm going to give it a stir. Now at this point, you want your spinach to cook in with this mixture. And it's really this is really good. As you can, now you guys probably can't see it, right? You guys can't see it because I'm not on the actual tripod. But this dinner's good. You can see that now the spinach is gonna wilt in no time. Now, the important thing about this dish is that you don't want to overcook the tortellini. Now, even though the tortellini may not be cooked, it's fine. It's gonna be totally fine because it'll get tons of time in the pot. Okay. The tortellini still needs to cook a little bit, but that's fine. So we're just stirring it in, okay? Now, look at this. As you can see, so watch this. I'm going to show you guys again. When I stir it in, the spinach automatically breaks apart. And that's what you want. Okay? You want the spinach to break apart. Let me tell you why. You want the spinach to break apart because the spinach has to kind of wilt. And you guys know that spinach really doesn't take that long to wilt anyway. So we're kind of cooking it a little bit. I'm just giving it a stir. And it smells good in here. So we know we're doing something right. Now this is going to be so good. And like I said, I will post the recipe down below. Okay? You guys have nothing to worry about. I promise. Alright, we're just going to stir this in. And you got, now, like I said, the spinach. Now, this tortellini probably is not cooked yet because I can really feel. If I can feel it, let me show you. Let me see. But this smells good. Now, I wish you guys were here to smell it. It smells so good in this kitchen. Okay, so all we're doing is we're continuing to cook the spinach. And I know this is a lot. Now, ooh, look, this is what I'm talking about. Whoops. Here, let me see if I can grab it. You see how the spinach just breaks apart? That's what you want, okay? You want the spinach to break apart because as you can see, like I said, spinach doesn't take that long to wilt. This is really good. It smells good. Now, you guys are probably, now when I opened this thing, it was boiling. I turned the heat down to medium heat because you don't, now the one thing, like I said in the beginning, remember when we put those onions in? The one thing you do not want to do is you do not want to burn your onions, okay? Now, the onions pretty much disintegrated into nothing, which is fine. You'll still be able to taste them. You just can't see them in the dish. Now, that garlic cooked really well. It smells good in here, so we know we're doing something right. It smells so good. Now, you guys are probably thinking that this is a long video. I've been recording for 22 minutes so far. So we've been in this kitchen for 20 minutes so far. Let's keep giving it a mix. It smells so good. Okay, and then I'll show you guys what we're gonna do next. Okay, just giving it a stir. This looks good. You're doing awesome. Thanks.
I feel like we need more sauce, huh?
Do you have any more?
Some of the spinach needs to get broken up a little, but that's not anyone's fault.
It's frozen, so. Yeah, make sure that tortellini's cooked.
Alright, why don't you put the lid on for a little bit, because that tortellini felt just a little bit hard. And then towards the end, we add the Parmesan cheese.
Ooh. Okay, guys. Alright, so I'm going to cover this back up. And we're just going to let this continue to cook for a little bit. And this recipe is really good. So what I'll do, I think I'm going to end it here. Okay, guys, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And I will be back with another video. Bye. Vlog on. Peace out. Boom. Alright. Bye, guys.